Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking, right side he wants, and a comeback cut! It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City! One of the greatest duos in the history of the National Football League!
Move over, guys, because it's about damn time for the Queens to take their seat upon Chiefs Kingdom's throne.
6 consecutive AFC West titles. 7 consecutive years in the playoffs. 4 consecutive home AFC championship games. Join us on this ride to keep these streaks alive.
Chiefs Kingdom's spirit is unyielding. Whether we're down 10 points in a Super Bowl with only 7 minutes left, or 3 points in a playoff game with only 13 seconds to go, our belief in our Chiefs never wavers.
St. Patrick Mahomes is the king of Chiefs Kingdom, and long live the king. But it's time for this reign to make way for some queens. We are the Kingdom's Queens.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to the Kingdom's Queens podcast. We are about a third of the way into the NFL season, which is absolutely blasphemous. It goes by so fast. And we're off of a bit of a sad loss, but your Kingdom's Queens are here to keep it positive, keep it electric, and we're on to the next. You know, we have a lot to discuss today. So I am your host, Lexi.
I'm Chrissy.
I'm Jodi.
I guess we might as well just dive right into it because we have a lot to discuss today. So
I know.
Yeah.
I say that I'm out of breath, running around my kitchen during the intro. But I'm back. Anyway, let's kind of talk about some highlights over the league this weekend. Like, I feel like football has consistently been crazy every single week. Like, every week I'm like, what the hell? So, yeah, let's tap into it.
My favorite saying is any given Sunday, because that lives true every single Sunday of the NFL season.
Sunday, Monday, Thursday, all of the days. Well, I'm going to dive into the Broncos-Chargers game. Big, you know, as Chiefs fans, we're big into all the division, the AFC West games, just to kind of see what we need to keep an eye on. I actually thought this game was going to end in a tie. And if not for that muffed punt by Denver in overtime, I think it probably would have, which is just crazy to me. I'm a little concerned about Russell Wilson's eyes. Wondering if he needs to go get his eyes checked because he can't seem to see a wide receiver open right in front of him. It's a little concerning. I know, right? And you know, he's got a new injury every week now, and shoulder, hamstring. Well, if it's
but you see, they said this one is serious.
They said this one's a real injury.
Like, what have the other ones been?
Did you really feel the need to say that? Because I don't know. Now I'm not thinking it is a real injury. So.
Right. What are we classifying as real and fake here?
I know, exactly. And so also, just for the first time since he became a Denver Bronco, at the end of his presser, he did not say Broncos country, let's ride. So let's just take a moment of silence for the sad thing that just happened in Denver. So I still think Herbert is an incredibly tough quarterback. He threw the ball 52 times in the game against the Broncos.
Jesus.
He only amounted to 238 yards and he didn't even get a touchdown. So having that many throws and nothing to come from it, that's a little shocking. That's really hard to do. I just don't think the Chargers are going to be able to overcome all the injuries that they've had to their team. I know they're 4-2 right now, but if you look at the games they've played, they only beat the Texans 34-24, the Browns 30-28, the Broncos 19-16 in overtime. I just don't see them overcoming these injuries. So, but you know, it was an interesting game, I guess, for the AFC West. You know, last Denver primetime game for a while, guys. Though, so yay,
yay! Something to celebrate.
Yay!
Yeah, Russell Wilson might be the worst trade of the season. I'm not entirely sure there. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's wild. But I want to dive in a little bit to the Ravens and Giants game. Ravens seem they always have it figured out in the first half. And then the second half comes and I don't know what happens to them, but they fall apart. They just completely fall apart. It's hard to see them not adjust to anything because they are such a good team.
And I feel like they have a good coaching staff too. So they
have a very good coaching staff, but something is just off. And I'm not sure exactly what that is. Marcus Peters had a pick from Danny Dimes in the end, and then that was canceled by a flag on himself, a flag on himself. So that was kind of a bummer. But they just can't quite seem to get it figured out. And Lamar is good, but he's not making every throw he needs to make. He threw a few picks. I will say the Ravens running game, Kenyon Drake did fantastic.
Yeah.
Kenyon Drake had 119 yards and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley had like 90 yards and a touchdown for the Giants. So I would say the running games were really strong with both the Ravens and the Giants, which is a positive for them. I really like Brian Dable. Like, if you would have told me the New York Football Giants were going to be 5-1 in the offseason, I would have not believed you. Like,
never.
On their bingo card.
And it just keeps going. Like, they just keep going. They beat the Packers, the Ravens. I'm really impressed with them. I feel like oddly proud of them. I don't even know why, but like they're doing very well. I'm happy for Danny. I'm happy for their team. They work hard. Kayvon Thibodeau is such a difference maker on the defensive line. I wish we had someone like that.
Right.
But yeah, I think that was a great game. And I don't know, AFC, all off season, we were all talking about how the AFC is so stacked on every single level. And the NFC is kind of making a case for themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
The NFC East is the real deal. They're the real deal. Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. NFC East and AFC East are the real deal right now.
Yeah.
So that I find that very interesting, but you just never know what's going to happen in the NFL. It's a parody. So
I also think the Ravens are out of the top 10 now, though. Well,
yeah.
Sorry. Don't be 2-4.
Bengals, made a case for themselves this week. So
yeah. Okay, I'm going to talk about Cowboys, Eagles. I'm just going to go fast because I feel like I end up always talking about either one of these two teams.
I know you do.
You really do.
I always end up talking about the Ravens too. So
okay, right. Okay, Eagles are 6-0. Cooper Rush threw 3 picks. Dak will be back next week. He's supposed to be cleared tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. The Cowboys defense was really good, but I think the Eagles defense was better. So, and I know the Cowboys are like literally top 2 defense, but I think the Eagles defense was definitely better yesterday. It was 20-3 going into halftime, and literally they kicked a field goal. The Cowboys like the last minute of the first half. Turpin is really good. Turpin is really, really good. Like really good. Like really, really good. Like almost jealous. Kind of wish we had somebody like Turpin because he's really good. Yeah. Ferguson, this new tight end, balling. He was balling yesterday. I don't want to say I'm excited to see what he's going to do this season, but based off of what he did yesterday, he definitely stepped up and looked good. For me, I think it's still Pollard over Zeke, even though Zeke did have a really good game yesterday. But he didn't wake up until the second half. Him and CD didn't even wake up until after halftime. So I don't know what the hell they were doing the whole entire first half of the game, but they didn't do anything until the second half. Zeke, 13 carries, 68 yards, CD, 5 catches, 68 yards. But Turpin had 3 returns for 98 yards. Like, what?
That's crazy.
That is crazy. What is
really
that?
crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, do you need another job? You need to go towards the AFC? What?
Right.
No, I mean, that's all I got on the Cowboys. I mean, I think that division is still it's really good. I think their division is not going to be known until literally the end of the season just because they all play each other again at the very back half of the year. I said it before. I think the Cowboys win when the Eagles go there. And I don't know. Like, they might have the Eagles win the division and 2 wild cards come out of the NFC East. So we'll see. Don't care.
They honestly might. Like, the Giants have a real case to make the playoffs this year, and that's crazy to me.
It is crazy. I feel like a lot of the really bad teams from the past few years have suddenly just risen up this year. So it's made for some interesting.
Because Atlanta,
I think that's what happens when you get a lot of good draft picks over and
Right.
over and
Over and over again. Yeah.
you start finally creating and gelling. Get it?
Finally.
I mean, it's the same thing with the Jets. And speaking of that, we have our lovely Shelley that is going to dive into the Jets and Packers game for us. So let me bring on Miss Shelley.
Hey everyone, it's Shelley coming to you from here in the UK. I hope you're all right and you've managed to cope so far this week after the Chiefs lost at Arrowhead to the Bills. Unfortunately, things weren't looking much better for the Green Bay Packers after the New York Jets beat them 27-10 at home at Lambeau Field. Now, the Green Bay Packers struggled from really early on in the game after a thumb injury left Aaron Rodgers looking generally out of sorts. And in fact, he managed to complete only 26 out of 41 passes and score only 1 touchdown. Now, I'm not sure what's going on at Green Bay or why they decided to leave a clearly injured Aaron Rodgers on the field until late in the 4th quarter. But something needs to happen to shake up their offense if they want their season to go anywhere. It's a tough watch for Green Bay fans at the moment, and I feel your pain. However, I'm sure that if things start to turn around and Green Bay don't look like a team that have just given up in the first half and Matty LaFleur starts to make those second half calls, then you'll secure yourself a playoff place. It's also been a tough week for Chiefs fans after the Bills beat us at home at Arrowhead. But going into week 6, we knew that this was going to be an evenly matched game. And this time, the Bills got their revenge victory. But I'm confident that when we meet them in the playoffs, it will be the Chiefs who emerge victorious this time around. Mistakes were made, yes. But the Chiefs will go back into that locker room and reflect on what went wrong and come out really strongly this week against the 49ers. So going into week 7, the 49ers are 3-3. And I think we're still going to be fired up and looking to score that dub after our loss to the Bills. So I am going 28-14 for the Chiefs. I'm hoping 28-14 is a good score. I want a high scoring game from the Chiefs and not another close game. Okay, everyone, I'm going to hand you back over to my fellow queens so they can take you through their thoughts on week 6 and predictions for week 7. I'll see all of you on Sunday night for some more Chiefs football. But until then, take care, stay safe, and much love.
We love Shelley. She's awesome.
So let's get into it. Week 6 was fun. I'll just start there. Week 6 was interesting. We're just going to say that there's still 11 games left in the regular season. 11. So, thoughts?
Yeah. I actually felt worse after the Colts game than I did the Bills game because, you know, we had watched the Bills play the first 5 weeks, and I'm not going to lie, they looked good. And so I figured we would do fine against them. I thought we would win the game, and I feel like we really could have won that game. I feel like you played that exact same game 10 times, and it probably goes 5 one way, 5 the other way. I don't think that there's a big difference between the two. The one thing that did concern me about that game and has been a little concerning for me the entire season is our left tackle and right tackle play. I feel like Mahomes, I mean, he got pressured 20 times in that game, and 9 of them came from Von Miller by himself.
I mean, but Von Miller's a dog.
Oh, I know. I love Von Miller.
Anybody? I'm like, okay, it's Von Miller. All right.
I love Von Miller.
I feel like we say this every week, but like there's always a man on a mission, and Von Miller was that man.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah. I feel like our O-line, you know, Mahomes, I don't want him getting pressured 20 times. And the fact that he only got sacked 3, and I don't ever want to say only sacked 3 because I feel like I'm like a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Like, oh, Burrow only got sacked 3 times this game, like positivity. And it's like, no, he shouldn't be getting sacked 3 times. He shouldn't be getting pressured where he has to be a magician and make a play on the run like he did in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay. Like, I just really, that was my big takeaway from that game. I don't care about the interceptions. They sucked, but it's going to happen. One of them was like a high risk, high reward interception. So, you know, I'm just, the O-line, it was my biggest thing. I really wanted to see Mahomes not running for his life as much. So, but you know, I think besides the 2 interceptions that Mahomes threw, I know this is kind of weird to say, I thought he looked really, really good. So the 1 interception was not so great, but the defender made an awesome call to jump ahead of that ball to Sky. And like I said, the 1 to MBS was a 50-50 high risk, high reward play. So that one doesn't bother me at all. But
I think what's funny is when he threw that first pick, like he hit the ground, right? And then they showed on the Jumbotron, like him smiling, like he was like, I'm gonna eat that one up. That was me. Like he knew he messed up. He admitted it. You could tell he was still positive versus like weeks prior where you see he's visibly frustrated. Like he had a smile on his face and he got back up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not upset about this game at all. Honestly, I think we've had much worse losses as Chiefs fans.
Absolutely.
So I'm not concerned at all about our team.
No, you know, I as much as we hate it, like I rewatched the game today. I can take away a lot of positives from it.
Yeah.
Sure.
A loss is never fun. No one likes losing. Like if you like losing, you're not a football fan. I mean, come on. But but what I can take away is that both teams kept it extremely close the entire game. I mean, we held them to 17 points through 3 quarters. And that's like, we are the number 1 and number 2 offenses, minus maybe the Eagles. Aside from that, like, and, you know, Buffalo had to play nine different coverages against Mahomes. 9 different types of style of defense. And he was trying to figure that out the entire game. And you're watching him and like sometimes he does look lost because he's like, wait, what's happening now? What's happening now? Like there's just a lot, and he's such a smart football player.
Yeah.
That it's hard to be mad at anything that happened. You know, both of these quarterbacks are so good. Mahomes and Josh Allen are the 2 best in the league right now.
100%.
I don't care what anyone else says. That's how I feel. I know Jodi might disagree with me on that one, but I think they are the 2 best in the league right now. I don't know how it gets any better than them.
Their statistics, even the entire game, were almost identical. Almost the entire game. It was crazy.
Had like the same amount of passing yards. The only thing we struck out on was the picks.
Yeah.
That's super unfortunate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to remember, like, we just had, I mean, we have rookies on our defense. Like, our whole entire secondary is pretty darn young.
Right.
The entire secondary.
The entire secondary.
And Justin Reed.
And Justin Reed.
We got Snead, but isn't Snead like a second-year player, right?
Yeah.
Third year? Second year?
Yeah. Juan is like
but it's his first year with us. Like, the one thing about the Bills is they're playing with the exact same team they had last year. They just got it. We're literally playing with a completely new defense.
And offense.
Offense, too. You know what I mean? So, for this to be a restructure, it feels good.
Yeah. So, it's like, a good rebuild.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it at all. It's like,
I think actually it shows what Mahomes is capable of. I mean, look, he doesn't have Tyreek Hill. Arguably our top 3 players of last year, you know. I mean, he's fantastic. I mean, we were so blessed to have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes. Like, no one can deny that. But Mahomes is also making Juju look like a great player. He's making Sky Moore look like a good player. I mean, we're doing well. It's just, I mean, it's week 6. I almost wish we played Buffalo later on because
I wish the Chargers played Buffalo.
I wish that too, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm actually really looking forward to the Bills playing the Bengals. I think that'll be good. But but I just think, you know, Mahomes and Allen, the way they play the game, these two have figured out how to play better under pressure than they almost do in like normal situations.
Right?
I'm watching this game, and with 28 seconds left, 28 seconds in the second quarter before halftime, Josh Allen throws a touchdown to Gabriel Davis, which I will say Joshua Williams was right there. He didn't get the stop, but he was right there. He didn't get burned.
Right there.
Josh Allen throws a touchdown, and then 12 seconds left, not 13 seconds, 12 seconds left. Mahomes, Kelsey, McKinnon, and Juju with the timeout call all figure out how to get us to the, what was it, 62-yard line. So Harrison Butker had his chance. And Harrison Butker said, okay, Matthew Wright, I'm going to go and take that.
Thanks for filling in, but I'm taking my record back.
Exactly. Thanks so much. Even though he made the 62 and missed the 51. Right, even though he made the 62 and missed the 51, it feels so good to have him back.
It was so good.
I'm just so happy to see your cute face, Harrison.
But look, 28 seconds and 10 points on the board by either team. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like when we had a minute and 4 seconds left at the end of the game, I was like, oh, we've got plenty of time. Like, but we would have felt the same thing. Like had the roles been reversed, had we scored and then Buffalo had a minute and 4 seconds to finish the game, I would have been like, we've left them way too much time.
Exactly.
So it's just those two teams, like they match up so well. And it's just, we're just, I think Bills Mafia and Chiefs Kingdom, I think we both respect, for the most part, each other's franchises a lot. And I think that we just need to really just relish in what we are witnessing, because this is not something that comes around. There was the Brady Manning thing. And now it's like we are the new big rivalry the NFL wants to see. And it's just cool to be a part of that as a fan.
It absolutely is. And I'm really happy for both of our fan bases. Like, I know as like a Chiefs fan, I'm supposed to be like this big Buffalo hater right now, but
it's hard to.
I know, and Jodi is. Jodi she'll stand her ground, but like for me, I've made a lot of friends on Buffalo Bills Twitter. Like, just there's some awesome people over there. They've been a really cool fan base for the most part. There's some duds in either fan base, of course.
In both fan bases, yeah.
But overall, I think we both know how lucky we are to have both of these quarterbacks, and I think both of our fan bases deserve it over anyone else right now. Like, we have to deal with years of the Patriots and the Steelers, and it's just so much fun right now.
So
we just have to soak in every minute of it.
Better overall quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes is number one. Absolutely.
Yes. Josh Allen is the week 6 number one. That's what I have respect for the Bills. But you're not going to Arrowhead chop at my stadium like y'all just won the Super Bowl. You're not going to do that. So even though, yes, we have respect for each other.
Who was that did that? Who was that?
Disrespectful on my field. So take your little win and go home. Like,
it might come back to bite. It might come back to bite them a little bit. That tomahawk chop they did.
Every player, every coach, the janitor, the water boy, the towel boy. If you think they didn't see that, like, it's really gonna be smoke when we get to January. But anyway, very happy with the rookies. Like, I know y'all just said, like, we have a whole entire defense filled with rookies. I mean, we
may be the youngest defense in the league.
I think we're the second.
Oh yeah, so right up there then. Yeah,
we're young.
We're definitely top 3. I can't remember who else is in there, but yeah, we're definitely Jets.
If Snead was back, not Snead. If Willie Gay was back, if McDuffie was back, we wouldn't even be having this conversation today. Like, we shoot ourselves in the foot. But what
I feel like? I feel like
the Bills are good, but again, we did, and I think like we can't even talk about the refs because I think the refs were shitty on both sides of the ball. Like, I think Buffalo had a ton of bad calls as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, Chris Jones definitely tripped Josh Allen.
He definitely tripped him.
Tripped him.
What are you doing? Right?
But he did get held right before that too. So to me, it kind of,
it evens out.
But I mean, technically, if you think
about it, calls on him this season, like,
he deserved one.
He deserved
it. If his touchdown wouldn't have got called back, we would have had 3 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
Our receivers haven't scored all year.
I know.
All 3 of them got in the end zone. I'm like proud auntie, big cousin over here, super proud. But I'm also like Matt. I think we also talk about how we abandon the run every single week too. Like, why do we stop?
Yeah, and here's my thing about abandoning the run. Like Pacheco, he only got 2 carries, and he was averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Why did we stop? I don't.
Why?
That was another big thing for me. Why did we stop running? And if Pacheco is the one who's having the day, why did we only give him 2 carries? Like, I was actually going to talk about that later, and I will. So I'll bring all this up later. But that really irked me a lot.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. I was like, as I rewatched it, I'm like, Pacheco, Sky, and Jodi Fortson should have been utilized so much more in this offense, and it.
Yeah.
100%.
But you know who else has been getting a ton of love just from like listening to all of the different things on Twitter, Instagram, and a few different podcasts and shows just in the last 24 hours? Darius Harris stepped up big on that 3rd and 1. Like he went like that's
our
game
linebackers.
That's game changing. So it's like, okay, rookies, like
I love it. I love it.
This makes me happy to see. And Orlando Brown was better. So
he was okay.
He was better than the Raiders game.
Well, yeah.
He had a nice pancake.
He did.
Well, that's why they moved Von Miller.
Yeah, they
Wiley could not handle Von Miller.
Wiley was our downfall that game, and the Bills realized that, and they moved Vaughn over to that side. And I just wish we were better at adjusting during certain things because
we're terrible.
They adjusted every single time they needed to, and we did not.
And not to talk about the Bengals, but they did the same thing. The Bengals adjusted towards us, and we couldn't go in and fight back, if that makes sense. Like fight back.
Yep.
We couldn't. So
and
yeah,
I think it was Matt Verderam that said today, it's kind of a hot take, but our coaching gets a little bit conceited in the fact that I think they have Mahomes, they have Kelsey, and I completely understand that.
Yeah,
I completely get that because you have these dynamic, insanely good players. So you want to like be able to be like, oh no, Mahomes can make that throw, but then you end up abandoning the run, and then you're like, okay, we end up paying for that.
Or you throw a pick.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Who are your rookies of the game, you guys?
I kind of want to give mine to Sky Moore.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to bring it back up, but he doesn't get utilized a ton. But I think once he does, he's going to be a difference maker. And he made some fantastic catches from Mahomes yesterday in tight coverage, like really extremely tight coverage. And I'm really impressed with what I see from him so far. I know he had the weird start at the Colts game with the special teams. He hasn't been great on kick returns. But other than that, when he's in like as a wide receiver, I think special teams just might not be his thing.
And I'm fine with that.
When he's a wide receiver, he is fantastic. Like he's making these catches, he's running his routes, he's getting open.
His routes look good too.
Yeah. And he's making plays. He's getting the first downs. He's getting so I think mine is Sky.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go Watson. Just because that first half he was all over Diggs. Like granted, Diggs had an amazing game.
We know you love Diggs.
You know I was watching. But the first time he was all over him, he did a really good job defending him. I mean, 7th round corner, Stephon Diggs.
7th round backup corner.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed with him. I just knew Stephon Diggs was going to go for like 300 on us.
Yep.
He did. So that's my rookie.
That was mine too. I agreed with both of you. I liked both of your picks. And you know, with Josh Allen, he is a veteran enough quarterback that he is going to try to take advantage of rookies on the field. And honestly, he's not my rookie of the game, but I even thought Joshua Williams stepping in did a really good job. Like I never saw our guys getting burned And that's what I care about. Like if you're in tight coverage and you're facing an elite quarterback and they get that ball in there, cool. But I never saw them just get burned. I just wish they'd turn around a little bit earlier. Just a little bit.
He was covering Gabe Davis, like.
Yeah.
And they're guarding some of the best receivers in the NFL.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they kept up. You know, they'll make those improvements and they'll adjust.
Yep.
They're gonna watch the film back and be like shaking their head.
Yeah. They'll get there. I look really forward to watching our secondary grow with these young guys. I think they could be elite for sure.
Yeah.
Who's your player of the game?
Mine was Tommy Townsend. Mr. Has to get a drug test because his leg is so freaking ridiculous. And you know, even Pat McAfee was talking about, like, he was just raving about Tommy Townsend and how rare it is to have someone who can punt like that and get you out of tough situations, which Tommy Townsend did. There were a couple times where, you know, there was one where he punted from inside the Chiefs end zone and the Bills caught the ball on the 31, like their 31-yard line. And there was another one where he punted from Kansas City's 37 and they got down to the Bills 7-yard line. And then there was the illegal block in the back. So we pinned him down at the 3-yard line. So I think Tommy Townsend really made a big difference in that game because especially with the punt where he punted from the end zone, if you give Josh Allen the ball at our 40, our 50-yard line, because you didn't get that punt out of there, you know, that could potentially be another 3 to 7 points for the Bills. So he was averaging 57.7 yards a punt, which is just unheard of.
Crazy. Unheard of.
So he was definitely my player of the game.
I think what's interesting about Tommy on our team is a lot of people are kind of taking him for granted because
100%.
We don't want to see us punt. And that's how like Chiefs fans have gotten, which I completely understand.
Yeah.
But every team in the NFL is going to have to punt. That's just how it goes. So if we're going to have a punter, I want it to be him.
Yeah.
So I'm right. I love that, Chrissy. My player of the game is going to be Mr. Wide Receiver Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
Who catches everything.
Yeah.
Everything. He was 5 for 5. 5 for 5. Love that. He had 113 yards. 13 is my lucky number this season. 113 yards. And a touchdown. Aside from Justin Watson, I think he's our only other wide receiver to get a touchdown this season, which is pretty crazy. But the play he made on that, and I want to actually shout out, I know Orlando Brown is getting a ton of hate this season. Orlando Brown had a crazy pancake on that, like right before Mahomes threw that to Juju. Orlando Brown put that, I forgot who it was, but he put that defender into the ground. So I love that.
Always love a good pancake.
Love it. But Juju, he made some really nice plays. Every single play that he made this game, I know it was 5 for 5, but like every single one was meaningful.
He looked like a number 1 wide receiver.
He did. And that made me really, really excited. So I'm really looking forward to what else Juju will bring to our team and then I didn't know if anyone else noticed Mahomes slid in with his little celebration and they did like the little meditating together in the end zone. It was awesome.
They seem to have a good chemistry. I like it.
They have the chemistry. I was a little bummed on MVS's first touchdown because like that should have, I don't know. I hate to say it, but that should have been one too. But yeah, I was really, really impressed with our wide receivers and especially Juju. So,
my player of the game is Mecole because I feel like I'm just very proud with all 3 of our receivers. Granted, he only had 43 yards, but I feel like he was still making an impact on the field, even if he wasn't catching the ball and running with the ball. I was impressed. So I feel like he's finally 100% healthy. And I think that's kind of what we've all been waiting to see. So I'm excited to see how we continue to use him going forward.
One thing I notice about McCole too is on the sidelines, he is very active on the sidelines this season. I'm seeing him up talking with Patrick. I'm seeing him talk to other wide receivers and whatnot on the sidelines. So I think he's starting to maybe feel some confidence and try to emerge into a leadership role. And that makes me really proud. Like I want McCole to succeed. I really like McCole. So
yeah, for sure.
Great choice, Jodi.
Me too. And like I think it was after maybe Pacheco had a punt return or something, and McCole was talking to him on the sideline, and I was like, that's awesome. Like, yeah, I love that.
Me too.
Love to see that out of him. That shows growth, and I'm here
100%.
He made the plays when it counted. So
yeah.
All right, it's Niner week. I'm tired of talking about an L. Over it. Niner week, and then bye week. So I think we all understand the importance of going into this game. I think 5-2 is really important going into the bye.
Yeah.
So what are you guys' thoughts about going to the Bay? What do they call it?
Oh yeah, the Bay.
The Bay.
I'm like, look, digging real deep. Like
there it was. You got it.
Area.
So I have a little my chiropractor is a 49ers fan. So we were talking about the 49ers yesterday. And you know, they're very similar to the Chargers in the fact that they have been bitten by the injury bug so many seasons in a row. I mean, Bosa's not healthy. I don't even know if he's going to play when we play. Charvarius Ward, ex-Chief, he got hurt at
he's coming to be back.
Yeah. So I know they still have Armstead. So like, I really want our O-line to, I don't know, to just really to keep Mahomes up and right. Like that's just, I don't want to be running around. He doesn't need 6 million steps in a game. He doesn't need to run 30 yards to get 3 yards. Like I want him to be able to sit in the pocket and do what he does. And one thing, the 49ers like to run the ball. That is in their game plan. Even Ayuk after the game, he was saying that the Falcons, is that who they played last week?
Yes, that's who they
they said that they stole their game plan, that the 49ers really like to run the ball. So I want our run defense to go back to where we were the first 3 weeks of this season. I feel like they've kind of been giving up a lot of rushing yards the last few weeks. And I mean, we let Singletary get 35 to 40 yards more than he has the entire season against our run defense. So I really want to see our run defense show up. And I want to see our defense get pressures. Trent Williams is out. Their right tackle,
he's also
Mike McGlinchey. Yeah, he's out too. So like, I want to see Karlaftis get a sack. I want to see Chris Jones get a much deserved sack. He's getting pressures like crazy, and people I think are saying that he's not having a good season because they look at, you have to have sacks to get, but he's pressuring people at a crazy rate. And once again, he was one of the highest rated defenders in the NFL this week. So
Chris Jones is there on every single play. He's there single play.
And he's getting double teamed. Like that's what people don't understand. For him to be getting the kind of pressure rate that he's getting, being double and triple teamed, like people just need to understand like how hard it is for him to be getting that pressure, being double and triple teamed. Yeah. And the one last thing I want to bring up is when I was talking about why Pacheco needs to be more involved. I brought this up a few weeks ago. The time when our offense has looked like they were struggling a little bit is when Pacheco has had 1 to 3 carries. When he has had 11, 12 or more, he is getting 62, 63 yards. And he was probably headed that direction against Buffalo, and we just didn't put him back out after 2 carries. So I think it is absolutely essential that Pacheco gets involved in the running game. I think it has to happen because he makes our offense better. So
I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful we get Willie Gay back this week.
Yes.
He makes such an impact with the run game. And I think that's why we started off so hot with it and stopping it. So I'm so, so glad we get to see him back this week.
And Mike Dana comes back too, right? Mike Dana is back.
Yes, he's back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another week healthier, hopefully.
And hopefully, fingers crossed, Trent McDuffie. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but
I feel like they're holding him till after the bye.
I know they might, and I won't be surprised if so, but I'm hoping we get him back.
I do too. I do too.
But Nick Bolton and Willie Gay, when they're together, they are unstoppable. And I feel like maybe that's the missing piece with Harris right now. With Bolton is that they don't have that chemistry quite as much as Willie and Nick do. So that's my only thing there. But I'm hoping with Willie back in the mix, like, I think that could be really fun. I think they're going to be awesome. But we have to remember.
He brings the energy.
Yeah. Oh, the energy is unmatched. It's unmatched. So, but the 49ers have a really good linebacker crew as well.
They do.
But I'm just praying we don't abandon the run this game, like you said. Like, that's the last thing we need to do. If Pacheco gets his chances, I've seen people say, like, maybe he doesn't have the best vision, but the more he gets these chances, the more he's going to improve on that. Yes. And just like Clyde has throughout the season. I mean, Clyde actually, if you re-watch the game yesterday, he was not that bad. He just, I don't know.
Sometimes he doesn't find the holes.
Real okay.
Buffalo's defense is also fantastic. We have to
remember that. They're elite.
So they're like number 1, number 2. I mean, they're
up. Yeah, they're way up there.
Play like that in January.
And Clyde, he had some great first downs. So I just think as long as we keep, and McKinnon he's always a difference maker. He makes those little catches, those little screen plays, you know.
Plus the blocks he makes and his pass blocking is fantastic.
He's fantastic at blocking.
Yeah.
Love him for that. So yeah, I want to see our run game do some bigger things this game. I'm actually hoping our wide receivers can make a bigger difference this game too. I mean, I think they keep doing better every week. They're gonna hold Kelsey out because look, the Niners, we played them in the Super Bowl and won and embarrassed them at the end of that game. And they have a lot of the same people on that team still, more than we do, I think. So they're going to want to get a little revenge on us. So it's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be them playing the Falcons. It's going to be a match.
A little more emotion involved.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Trent Williams and Nick Bosa were both back this week.
Everyone manages to be healthy for us.
I think everybody plays us like it's the Super Bowl. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they're back. I hope we have a plan for Deebo Samuels because that man is a monster, a beast, a huge beast. And the Niners, y'all already spoke about it, but they're like one of the top 2 defenses right with the Cowboys. So I already know, like, we got to be on our game. Like, this is probably one of the games that shows, like, our true toughness. Like, I know that that's supposed to come from the Bills as well. But if we're thinking Super Bowl and long term, like, how do we play against teams that are very good defensively? Like, we're not playing the Cowboys this year unless it's in the Super Bowl. So what are we doing to go against these top 2 defensive teams in the league? And that's what I'm going to be looking most at. Like, how do we adjust to that? Like, I know we were supposed to do that against Tampa Bay and we killed Tampa Bay. But if you look at the last few weeks, Tampa Bay has just been bad. So it's really kind of hard to compare that game to what's coming up in the future. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what this game looks like against them this week, especially there. Because if we go to the Super Bowl, we are going back to the West Coast anyway. So that'll be very, very.
I totally hear you. And I feel like we've been up against some of the best defenses in these very first games, and we've made a pretty good case for ourselves. Even with Juju as our number 1 receiver pretty much. And obviously Travis Kelce's still amazing, but we've made a good case against these fantastic defenses. So I'm happy with this so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is going to be a good game. I know we're going to do score predictions here in a minute. But I'm not thinking it's going to be the blowout that the world thinks it's going to be.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either.
Not at all. Not at all. All right, well, why don't we get into the top 5 games for this week?
Absolutely.
So I feel like week 7 stinks.
My weeks are not great.
I don't think there's a ton of great games this week. I think there's like some real
mid.
But it might end up surprising us. So
some mid games this week.
It could be because the teams that are really bad are really good. And the teams that are really good are not great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, first game, Browns versus Ravens at noon on Sunday.
This is a must win for the Ravens. It is a must win. Like if they lose this game, sorry, bye, you're done. So
You're already out of the top.
they're a cooked Thanksgiving turkey.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Ravens because I think they have to kind of like when we played the Colts, like they were kind of a desperate team at that point. They started 0-2. It was their home opener. I think the Ravens are going to be desperate at this point. I think Lamar Jackson is going to do everything he can. And let's just hope that they can play a second half because they're a really good first half team and their second half, it's like they forget how to play football. So I'm going Ravens because they're desperate at this point.
It is crazy. I'm going to go Ravens as well though, Chrissy. Yeah, I feel like they're due for their win. They have to be desperate at this point. And if they don't get it, then I don't know what to say.
I don't know how you climb out of that hole.
No.
I mean, Lamar's not going to get the money he thinks he deserves. As of last week, they're not in the top 10 anymore. Like, they look awful. This is their third time blowing a lead at home. Like, what are y'all doing?
Can we mention
they do this every year too, though. They do this every year. They start off hot and then they just start falling apart. And then everyone's like, oh.
Can we mention how they just signed Deshaun Jackson?
Imagine me going out here, right? Me and my baby.
That should be interesting for them.
Like, you know what? I'm ready.
Yeah, so coach.
Absolutely not. He's not going to last that long. Anyway, I'm going Ravens too, even though they're at home and they clearly don't play good at home. So
how weird.
Wouldn't be surprised if the Browns won, but I think you're right. I think Lamar doesn't have a choice. Yeah. Next game, which is actually now very interesting. Falcons versus Bengals in Cincinnati at noon.
I'm choosing Bengals. They had a really good game this past week. I would prefer Drake London to do really well for my fantasy football team. I'm not gonna lie, for the Falcons, but I think that Joe Burrow is the better quarterback.
Oh, over Marcus Mariota?
Maybe.
The confused face.
Maybe. So I'm going Bengals.
I have to say Marcus Mariota has really surprised me this season.
Yeah. He has. It's very confusing.
A few of those NFC quarterbacks have, Mariota being one of them. And maybe I want to go with the upset. I hate the Bengals. Let's go. Let's go Atlanta Falcons. Let's go upset Falcons. Let's go.
I like the upset. Let's do it.
Man, I'm going Bengals only because it's at home and they're just so hype about beating the Saints in the Superdome, which I had the Saints winning. Thank you, Saints.
I think we all did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way they're going to lose in the Super Bowl Dome, even though I don't think the Bengals look great. But they got the W, and that's all that matters. So I'm actually going with Jodi Burrow and crew as well.
Saints are crazy beaten up, though, right now.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm gonna go Falcons. Let's do it. Let's get the upset.
Upset alert.
Next game, another interesting one. Giants versus Jags at noon.
Who thought this would be an interesting game? If we were here last season and we're like, hey, this is a great game, Giants versus Jags. What world are we living in?
Lost the last two, right?
I know.
Hilarious.
So I'm going Giants. I actually think that they are the only loss they have is to the Cowboys. They've beaten the Packers, they've beaten the Bears, the Panthers, and they've beaten the Ravens, but we know the Ravens are only good half the time. So here's my thing. Like, are the Giants good or are they, is it kind of a fluke? I look at this game as, are these teams for real or are they frauds? Like, cause it's just weird to be like, the Giants are 5-1, right?
Yeah. They have a better record than the Chiefs.
Like, what is this world we're living in? Like, I don't understand.
Right.
So I'm going Giants, and Trevor Lawrence was doing really well at the beginning of the season, and now he's not. So it's because I picked him up in fantasy. That's my bad, y'all. So sorry, Jacksonville. It's my fault. I dropped him. Maybe he'll be better now. So yeah, go Giants.
So I actually had a tweet in the off season. Like, I think it was like late June or early July, where I was like, I'd literally go for a Giants and Jags game on a Tuesday morning right now because that's how much I miss football.
Yeah.
And little did we know this would actually be a good game. Like, I said that out of complete sarcasm.
Yeah.
And actually now I'm excited for it.
Like
So
why are we excited for this game? This is so
Right.
bizarre.
I have no idea, but it's going to be great. So, is it at the Jags? Is that what you said?
It is, yep, in Jacksonville.
Okay. I feel like they might be due. Like you said, I don't know which teams are going to end up being fraudulent kind of thing.
It's kind of like Pittsburgh last year. They were definitely frauds with a good record.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see Pittsburgh beating the Bucks either last.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting. I really like Brian Dable for the Giants. I think he's the big difference maker over there. I think that's what Daniel Jones has needed. But I also think Peterson is really great for the Jags.
100%.
I think they have a great team. They have a great squad. So I think they're kind of due, and I'm going to pick the Jags.
I'm going Giants because Saquon has been out of his mind.
Whew.
I don't know what's in the water in New York.
Can I have some, please? Like,
But the Bills,
disperse it
the
to my
Giants,
Chiefs guys.
I'm like, what is going on? I think the Yankees are in the World Series, and I know zero about baseball. Like, I don't know what's in the water. Have some. Well, not here, but in Kansas City. Can we get some of that water? Because the Kool-Aid is sweet. Okay. So I'm going Giants too. I think they go down to Jacksonville in the heat, and I think they win. I think they come out 6-1, and that's insane.
I think it's
Could use
hilarious
some
that
heat today.
Jacksonville has. I think it's hilarious that Jacksonville has a pool in their stadium. Like you can swim while watching the game.
Oh, like at the Royals game.
Yeah, we had a hot tub, right?
Yeah, like the Royals games. Okay, next game, also very interesting, kind of. Lions at Cowboys. Dak is back. I think it's at no. It's at no.
I'm going Cowboys. Dak is back, as you said, and I need him for my fantasy livelihood because when he went out, fantasy died for me. But you know, the interesting thing about the Lions is the Lions have been putting up points except for last week against the Patriots. I have no idea what happened there. That was weird because they'd been putting up like 35, 38, 40 something. Like so it's weird that they laid a goose egg last week, but it'll be interesting to see if they can score points against one of the best defenses in the NFL. So, but I'm going Cowboys.
I think I'm going Cowboys as well. I think Dak is going to want to reclaim that. You know, there was a lot of controversy with Cooper Rush.
The Cooper Rush, yeah.
I think Dak is going to want to reclaim that title again over there. They're at home. I like what the Lions have going, and they did have a bye week, so they are going to be well rested.
Yeah.
But I think the Cowboys will end up taking it. But I think it'll be close.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys win as well, just because they're in Jerry World. And I mean, I honestly think they didn't want to bring Dak back for the Eagles game because Dak was going to lose, and then they're going to be like, well, he wasn't healthy enough to come back. They should have sent him another 1 or 2 weeks. And to them, this is probably like an easy game, even though it's really not because the Lions have a great defense. But this could be the game that gets Dak confidence back.
Yeah.
And that's the way I'm looking at it. So
yep.
I think they win in Jerry's World. And then the last game, Sunday Night Football. Am I reading that right? Yes. Steelers, Dolphins, and Tua is also back for prime time.
So I think Tua being back is going to give the Dolphins some much needed energy. So I'm going with the Dolphins, but I'll be rooting for the Steelers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's
tough though. Like I feel like I don't feel like the Dolphins are as good as everyone thought they were. And I'm not even just saying that because Tua went out. I just don't think they're as good as everyone thought. They looked beatable when I watched them. So
I think they have Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. They have Tyreek Hill and they have Waddle,
and Waddle is a game changer too.
Yeah.
That's such a tough one. I'm gonna go Dolphins right now. I think Steelers have a ton of people out, and I don't know. I mean, is Kenny Pickett out still? I mean,
no, I think he's back.
Is he back? Okay. I don't know. I still kind of feel the Dolphins.
Was it a concussion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he might not play this week. They're starting to sit everybody a week.
Especially at the Dolphins because they're so weary over there right now, as they should be. But
yeah.
I kind of think the Dolphins will pull this one out. I think they're on a mission right now. They've taken some losses and they have a really good team. So
I think
somewhat.
if Kenny is out, then I'm going Dolphins. But I think if Kenny is in, then I'm going Steelers.
That's fair. I mean, Tomlin is a fantastic coach, and
they had a great win this past week.
Yeah, I really like Mike Tomlin. Like, if we could have if Andy Reid were to retire, I would want Mike Tomlin to just come jump over. And
me too. Mike Tomlin or Sean Payton would be my choices.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Sean Payton was at the Chargers game last night, by the way?
No, I fell asleep during the Chargers game.
I fell asleep too. I think like the beginning of the fourth quarter, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this.
He was there though, so I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah, I woke up and I was like, oh, the game's over. What happened? I had to go to Twitter to see what happened.
I woke up at 3 a.m. to catch a flight out of Kansas City. Okay, now let's get into score predictions. Chiefs, Niners, in the Bay. And I actually don't know what time we play.
3:25.
Okay, thank you. I didn't write it down.
That's it. Come on.
I'm good for one thing. That was it.
So, okay. Wins and scores. What do you have?
Oh, this one's hard for me. I'm thinking, like you said, I think it's going to be closer than people think it's going to be. I think the score could be similar to the Bills game. Maybe something more like a 30-21, 28-21 type score. I think it's going to be closer than people think. Oh, hi. Go away. Sorry. But yeah, that's what I think.
Chrissy's kids wanted to make a cameo.
She wanted to make it. She's all over Chief's Twitter. She just wanted to say hi. She'll take over, so I had to kick her out. Sorry, guys.
No worries at all. I think same thing. I think Chiefs fans can get a little conceited from time to time and think, oh, this was going to be a huge blowout. But I think everyone shows up and plays their best game against us because we are, I guess that's conceited of me, but we are one of the best teams in the NFL right now.
It's true.
And the Niners lost their Super Bowl against us, and they're going to want to beat us with a vengeance. So I'm not counting them out, but I'm still going to take us with the win, but I think it will be close. I'm going to go 27-21 Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah, I have the Chiefs winning too. Praying for 5-2 into the bye. We'll talk about my thoughts about the bye after the bye. I think we win 24-17.
Yeah, so we're all within like a score.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, and I know 24 is not necessarily low scoring, but I think everybody's defense goes crazy this week. So, and honestly, it could even be like a 21-17. Like it, yeah.
Their defense is really good.
Even with people out.
And they're going to test us.
Defense.
Yeah, they're going to test us. So,
and like you said, it's a home game there. We beat them in the Super Bowl there. Like, I don't think it's going to be as pretty as everybody thinks. Like, they've been waiting to get that revenge.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that doesn't worry me is Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, Jimmy.
he might be pretty, but I don't know.
He's like an ultimate game manager. You're not going to get frills. You're not going to get anything exciting. He's going to manage the game.
Yes.
We'll see if he manages it well.
Although Stefanski is a really good coach. He's a very, very good coach.
Yeah.
So.
That's all I got.
Yeah, me too.
Well, yes.
We always,
we're like, okay. Sad.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good game, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, as always,
Stefanski, that's the brand. I'm an idiot. I meant Shanahan.
Yeah.
I think that's why Jodi and I were confused, but we were just going with it.
We're going to support you regardless.
Correct me if you must. It's been a long day, but I meant Shanahan.
Yeah, we got you. Well, guys, each and every week we appreciate you guys coming out and talking about how crazy this NFL season has been. It's like every week there's upsets and games where you don't know how the team won, and it's just been crazy. So we appreciate you guys coming along for the ride with us. Visit our Twitter page to find all the places that you can watch us, and make sure you follow at Kingdoms Queens, so you never miss out on a second of the action. Obviously, you want to subscribe on Apple and Spotify and YouTube. But with the Chargers winning on Monday Night Football, the Chiefs losing to the Bills, our margin for error is now very slim. So for those traveling to Levi Stadium, make yourselves known, even though ex-Chiefs Charvarius Ward does not want you to. And so I don't know if anybody's seen his tweet on Twitter. We'll post it. We'll retweet it so you guys can see it if you haven't. And I am doing a direct quote, so please don't come at me for the grammar. Thank you very much. It says, please don't allow no red and yellow jerseys in Levi's Stadium next week. Faithful, fill it up in red and gold. So you guys, as you can see from his Twitter, they are already feeling Chiefs Kingdom in San Francisco, and they feel the need to have to ask their fans to show up. So let's bring the home of the Chiefs to San Francisco. All right. So until next time, the Queens have spoken.